Hello, Mr. Browell. I was actually just calling you up on the other line.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for calling me back. And yeah, we did arrange for 2 o'clock. I just thought you might be running late or something, so I thought I'll call up. So we spoke earlier on in the week. Oh no, sorry, last week. Are you able to give us any update?
I've spoken with financial appointeeship regarding you questioned what's happening with regards to the when Adalet managed Talib's money. Apparently they're still chasing up with the bank and liaising with the bank to transfer the money back to Talib's appointeeship account.
Okay.
They said that transfer is not. All they said was that transfer has not been completed yet.
Okay, but that whether Adalat has the money or whether the council have the money, it's no benefit to Talib, is it?
Not if you're not accepting, or Talib's not accepting money from appointeeships. No,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
really. But I mean, it's still his money.
Yeah, I understand, but like it's not his money because he has no control over it. But that was not the point. I'm not concerned that, oh my God, Adalat's got the money and the council should have the money. That's not. Can you understand? That's not to our advantage to know that information. What actually I had raised with yourself was the fact that obviously Adalat's been financially abusing Talib. I raised that as a safeguarding alert in 2018. Vicina Brown had responded saying that we're not in a position to do anything because the matter's with the Court of Protection. And obviously, at this stage, I've made you aware of other information regarding, financial abuse taking place. Because we're not even talking about the money that you, the council, are controlling and having access to, or not, obviously in a position to take his benefit money. But obviously, it's to do with Adalat's involvement in taking control of Talib's finances. And Adalat's told me that obviously he's been working with the council, and like he's as I mentioned to you in my last conversation, that he was saying, Deepak Patel has taken his DWP disability allowance, and so obviously there needs to be a formal investigation into Adalat's management of Talib's money. Just as the local authority had instigated formal proceedings of a investigation. So I'm just struggling to understand how, on the one hand, the local authority, without there ever being a safeguarding alert or without there ever being a concern raised by either my mother or my brother, instigated a very malicious criminal investigation into my managing Talib's direct payments, and as a consequence have then chosen to unilaterally prosecute me without the police or the CPS's involvement, and then obviously proceeded to procure all our money, not just the money that the local authority had given in direct payments for the last 7 years, but all our other money, all our family savings, effectively our trust fund. But okay, so you've done that. But now, when we are legitimately explaining that, look, and you can see the fact that Talib's not having access to his benefit money, there was somebody that the local authority put in charge, which is Adalat Hussain, our nefarious brother, and like he's now obviously he's being very abusive to us. All right, he's obviously I've made you aware that he's attempted to poison us. I've made you aware the fact that he's taken substantial amount of money outside of the money that the council are aware of from the house. And obviously the substantial financial mismanagement. And can I just confirm with yourself that presently there is no live criminal investigation underway regarding Adalat's management of Talib's money? Can I just confirm that?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, there's no criminal investigation regarding Adalat's management of Talib's money.
Oh, okay, all right. So that's quite interesting. Why the central question arises? Why is there no criminal investigation being carried out when clearly there was a criminal investigation carried out against me?
So I think there is notes about a safeguarding from October 2019.
Okay, all right.
Where I believe that safeguarding was closed and a letter was sent to you regarding that decision. I think at that point there was some mention of the local authority needing to see some bank statements, I think, from Adala.
So that's good. At least you've had an opportunity to review the safeguarding alert that was raised in 2018. Can I just confirm that safeguarding alert was raised by me?
I believe so. Yeah. I mean, it's difficult to find, look at all the notes and things like that. But if it's saying that the letter was sent to you, then communicating the decision, then yeah, that would have been the safeguarding raised by yourself.
Yeah, okay. So I mean, so the decision simply was that we can't. It didn't say that the case is closed, because obviously, if I've raised the safeguarding alert, and the decision is that we are presently putting it on hold until the outcome of the court of protection proceedings.
Okay.
So that is the decision. What was the decision? Because look, can you just remind me what the safeguarding alert was?
I don't know where to find it. There's a limit to what I can find from the notes.
Okay, all right.
So there's a limit, but I can just kind of, particularly with safeguarding, it's not always possible to have access to all the safeguarding notes. That's generally, I think, to do with the officers involved or who was appointed as the safeguarding officer.
Okay, all right, I understand. Okay, no, that's fair enough, because I do recall, because this was at a time, obviously, just to like highlight that what had happened was that as soon as Adalat was formally appointed to by the Court of Protection, I believe they made an application in 2017, him and his friend, that we're gonna under the advice of the Court of not the Court of Protection, but the POCO case, that obviously if my mum and my brother Talib are going to be represented, then they obviously need to have a deputy in place, which is a falsehood, because that's assuming that either my mother or my brother lack mental capacity. So obviously the application was made by Adalat in 2017, and soon as he received that he's the financial deputy, interim financial deputy of September 2017, he stole my brother's bank card. But more than that, he was in charge of the money from soon as I was incarcerated. So from January 2016 up until we don't know where the money's gone. We're not talking about money that I was controlling, but money that he was controlling from Talib's benefit money. So what you're telling me right now is that there's no live criminal investigation underway. But then I am failing to understand, like, when a safeguarding alert has been raised, and you basically just brushed it under the carpet in 2018, stating that we're waiting for the Court of Protection's final decision before we can do anything. And then now, several years later, nearly 5 years later, when you're telling me that the Court of Protection has now concluded and you now have full authority, you're not in a position to do anything. It just seems... Sorry.
I'm not saying that, Shazad. I can read the letter that was sent to you as a response to that safeguarding.
Okay.
I understand what you're saying. It does mention that the inquiries couldn't be concluded until I think the local authority was able to view previous and current financial records with regards to Talib, and then when the financial protection team have obtained those previous bank statements from Adala, they could then clarify if there will be any irregularity. So, like you say, and it says currently the inquiries cannot be concluded until I have that information. So I can find out for you if ever the financial protection team obtained that information, because as you say, it said the inquiries couldn't be concluded until that information was gathered.
Yeah, so can I just ask, thank you for that, and can I just ask what date is that letter?
3rd of October 2019.
Or 3rd of October 2019. But would you happen to know that's a response letter? When was the safeguarding alert raised?
Yeah, that's not completely clear. Like I say, that's not completely clear from the notes.
Okay, all right. So in October 2019, it is a fact that I at that stage had lasting power of attorney regarding my brother, because obviously my brother had been discharged into my care since the 14th of December 2018. All right, and so when obviously.
Sorry, I can find out. It's from. I don't have any further information, but I think it's from the 7th of August 2019.
Okay.
That was when you raised the concern, I think.
Okay, all right. Okay, so the 7th of. All right, so it's the 7th of October, and you got a letter there dating what, the 14th of October?
No, so it was the 7th of August, I think.
Yeah.
The concern was received, and then there was a safeguarding response on the 3rd of October.
Okay, all right. Okay, on the 3rd. Sorry, what day on October?
The 3rd.
So the response was received on the 3rd.
Well, that's when it was sent, I think. Yeah.
But when was the safeguarding alert raised? On the 7th?
Yes.
So
August.
Oh, 7th of August. I see. Sorry, yeah. Sorry, 7th of August. And the 7th of August 2019 and not 2018?
Yeah, 2019.
Okay, all right. So can you understand that for the fact that I've raised a safeguarding alert, and you're now telling me that you've not had access to the bank statements, but that doesn't make any sense to me, because I, as a private citizen, you've gone through my bank statements. All right. When obviously through the criminal investigation, you've got all my bank statements. So why is there a problem getting the bank statements from Adalat, especially when the safeguarding alert has been raised? And you as a local authority have the power of investigation, because you've used that power against me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the answer to that question is.
Okay, just one second. So there has to be an answer to that, and obviously it seems that when the reason that you've taken criminal proceedings against me was nothing to do with was me frauding the money. It was all to do with the fact that I was at that stage since 2012 looking to highlight your mismanagement of direct payment auditing. So basically what happened was that, my brother came out into the community in 2005, all right? In 2006, I think you audited the direct payment accounts. And then for a period of 5 years, you did not audit direct payments that you were paying Talib, all right? And then obviously in 2012, when you attempted to audit them, I told you, no, you've not put any contract in place, and why should I cooperate with you? So I refused to provide you, the local authority, with any bank statements regarding direct payments that you, the local authority, had been paying Talib, all right, for the last 7 years when the accounts had not been audited. So in 2012, you suspended, in August 2012, you suspended further direct payments pending an investigation, and then proceeded to provide Talib with care yourselves in, I believe, September, October time, through agencies. And by December 2012, you have placed my brother Talib in a car accident through the agency workers. And then subsequently in 2013, I have gone and attempted to whistleblow on the fact that for 5 years you had been paying benefit or direct payments to Talib's account without auditing it. And so as a consequence of my attempting to whistleblow, by December 2013, you've obviously instigated a criminal proceedings. So the only reason that you really you the local authority have instigated criminal proceedings against me is because I was attempting to whistleblow on the fact that for 5 years, you the local authority had been paying out direct payments to Talib's account without auditing it. So you were effectively using your powers in your own best interest, and then subsequently have proceeded to criminally prosecute me and take away not only the money that you had been paying in direct payments, but everything now, every single penny from us. So now when it's like when a real so there was no criminality taking place or any financial abuse taking place, because I was with my brother, providing both my brother and my mother. I was managing the money really well. Obviously there was no irregularity, because I was living with the person and I was providing. Obviously they were not going without. But you put together a contrived criminal investigation and then obviously bought off the courtroom judges in order to criminally convict me. Now, in my absence, real criminality is taking place from our brother Adala, who's obviously been mismanaging this money since 2016. And you're telling me now that not only is there no criminal investigation, that you're not really bothered about it, because ultimately, if you were to prosecute Adala, there would be financial costs to you that you could not recuperate. But in my circumstances, because I had substantial personal funds or family funds, to the tune of £500,000, that the local authority saw that and then abused your position to take control of that money and everything now. But now, obviously something serious is happening where, financial fraud is taking place by Adalat. He's now a family member who's looking to obviously raise false flag safeguarding alerts, further attempting to threaten us, and you're not willing to do anything now. So I'm just slightly flabbergasted at the fact that when safeguarding alerts have been raised, when there was no problem, you've artificially created a problem and provided a solution so where you financially make financial gain, whereas now there is a serious problem and you're not doing anything. It's just
Are you saying that Adala is still financially abusing Talib?
Well, you tell me this then. Yes, obviously since 2019 he's got all the money. He's not even giving you the money, the council.
Right.
Yeah, so...
He doesn't have access to that money anymore.
Pardon?
Well, he doesn't have access to that money anymore.
Who doesn't? Adalat clearly does have access to the money now.
Right, okay. No, I was asking you. I wasn't saying he doesn't. I was saying...
Look, Mr...
I mean, the money that was previously sent to him.
Look, Mr. Browell, you're a social worker, so you're fully aware of the fact that the DWP have something called a DWP appointee, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So are you familiar? Are you fully familiar with what role the DWP appointee plays?
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Yeah. So the thing is, the DWP appointee is a legal instrument. All right. Now, in 2016, when I was sent to prison, I was my brother Talib's DWP appointee. All right. In order for Adalat to take control of Talib's finances, he became the DWP appointee. Now, obviously, I've wrote to the DWP appointee presently to find out you can't just take my DWP appointee away and give it to Adalat, because obviously I don't consent to it. You can't just take my bank account and give it to somebody else. It's my bank account. So similarly, the DWP appointee was in my name, all right, for Talib. Now, how it came onto Adalat's name is an element of fraud. Because I've asked Adalat, did you make an application to become Talib's DWP appointee? And he's adamant saying, no, I didn't. He said the social workers did everything. So he's effectively blaming your predecessors to say that. But I'm saying that even though your predecessors did not have the legal authority to be somebody's DWP appointee without my permission. All right. So since 2016, look, any money that Adalat's received, how come he's not being investigated and accountable for? He's been receiving Talib's DWP benefit money from 2016. Then obviously in 2018, he's received a substantial large sum after the council have taken it from my bank accounts. So, that's over like £70,000, £80,000. In addition to this, I've had to get, he's taken money, like over £30,000 from the house. And all I can do is I've raised that, I've wrote, at the time I made police complaints, the police just ignored them. Now I'm making complaints to yourself, and it just seems as there is no like will on your part to prosecute Adalat, or the true criminal in this case, who's obviously abusing, financially abusing Talib, and by proxy myself. So can you tell me that when you're saying that, is Adalat still financially abusing us? He's taken all the money, all right, and you the council are not doing anything.
I think you'd need to write to maybe the financial protection team, and that's what the last advice on this matter would be, is that you need to kind of communicate with them if you've got concerns regarding Talib's money.
No, look, Mr. Browell, this is a criminal matter now, isn't it? If I'm saying that it's a criminal matter, because why was it a criminal matter when I was involved?
I haven't got the answers to that.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
Yes.
I wasn't involved then.
Yeah, no, I understand, but obviously the council saw it fit to criminally investigate me, criminally interview me, and criminally prosecute me, to a point where you put me into prison. And then subsequently, you have proceeded to take away, like, maybe over £600,000 from us. Definitely over half £1,000,000 from us, because that's how much money I had in the trust fund, effectively in my name and the family members' names. You've left me now in a situation where I am economically inactive. So obviously hence why if you've made me economically inactive, I'm still working, and still working and trying to make money, and hence why I'm charging you £1 million a week. But coming back to this point, that you, the local authority, you're not resolving anything. It's just basically been a cash grab. Do you, Mr. Browell, do you accept the fact that there are care costs that Talib is accumulating?
I don't think it's up to me to prove that or to authorise that.
No, that's not the question. Do you accept that Talib has ongoing care needs?
Yes, he has care needs.
Yes,
well, it's my understanding he has, but we haven't been able to see him, so he hasn't been able to be formally assessed.
Okay, well, that's not true, is it? Because obviously his care needs are not automatically arisen now or recently. He's had mental health problems since 1987. He's been well known to the mental health team or district trust, for several decades. Definitely since the 90s, all right? He's then obviously been in your care and custody through kidnap. You, the local authority, Vicina Brown, Nadi Khan, with the police, came and kidnapped him on the 3rd of August 2018 until the 14th of December 2018. So the care needs that I'm talking about are not just materialized now. He's always had those care needs. And more importantly, he's obviously previously been under a section 113, section 3 of the Mental Health Act. So you don't need to see him now to establish that this person has ongoing care needs. Yes?
It seems we are his carer, his dad, so like I said, he most likely does have ongoing care needs.
Yeah, so alright, and do you accept that there's a cost associated with those care needs? There's going to be a cost, those care needs, meeting those care needs, there's a cost, isn't there?
Yeah, it depends on the situation. I'm not qualified to be able to make comment on that.
Okay, but do you accept that you, the local authority, have a legal duty of care, a legal duty to provide, to be responsible for the care, the cost of the care?
I can't really answer that question, not in this situation. No, like I said, there needs to be arrangements and agreements in place. It isn't just a case of somebody saying that they're somebody's carer and will accept payment for that. It's not quite as simple as that, even if that person is a family member.
Well, irrespective, I mean, he was in your care and custody, the local authorities and the district care and custody, so until the 14th of December 2018. You had an open, you've released him into my care under what arrangement?
I don't know what arrangement that would be, you know.
Yeah, no, so but that was your predecessors, isn't it? It's not my fault that your predecessors have left. All right, so Fungai Machichitiri and Baljit Nota have, and the doctor Reshmi Dixon have discharged Talib into a vulnerable individual who into the care of somebody who's been criminally convicted of defrauding him financially. You did that. You, the local authority, and you, the care trust, have done that. You on the one hand have criminally convicted me, sent me to prison, attempted to get Adalat to replace me and to take care of the situation. He's been physically abusing both my brother Talib and my mother. Then subsequently I've come back and provide, continuing to care. You had him in your care and custody from the 3rd of August 2018 until the 14th of December 2018. He was discharged by the doctor into my care with full care needs. I'm now meeting those care needs, and alternatively, you've made me economically inactive, so I can't go get a job, I can't do anything else. I have to provide him with care because you're failing to do so. So the agreement on my part is that, yeah, of course I'll care for him, and I've made that in writing in the courts. I made that quite evidently clear in court in January 2018, well before he was kidnapped, that these are my charging policies. So you, the council, in the Pocker case, all right, while we were in court, I'm sure you've read this where I've written to the judge and I've clearly outlined that if I am to provide care for my brother Talib or my mother for my mother, these are my costs. So you were made aware 11 months before my brother's discharge into my care on the 14th of December. You, the local authority, were fully aware from January 2018 that I will be charging £1 million a week. All right. Then on the 14th of December, through discharge meetings, my brother came into my care. You've not provided any financial support subsequently, so we have an agreement in place. So when you say
agreement needs two people to agree, both sides to agree to that. You've stated your side. I don't believe that agreement has been agreed.
No, actually, in law, there has to be a consideration, all right? And I believe in order for you to accept something, there has to be a consideration. That consideration effectively is that you're getting me to care for him, all right? So I am caring for him. That's the consideration. I've told you I'm charging £1 million a week. You're aware of this. And then circumstances have materialized where I'm providing him with care, and you're aware that you have a duty of care which you're failing to provide him with. So look, Mr. Browell, yesterday I'm sure you're fully aware that yesterday, on Wednesday, the 2nd of February, was a strike day. So there was a major strikes going up and down the country. Yes?
Yeah, I read that in the papers, yeah.
Were you striking?
No.
Okay, all right. So obviously, many public sector workers feel that they need to strike because they're not getting paid enough. All right. But the reason I mention that is because as you're fully aware, in the domiciliary care sector, there's a big labor shortage. If my brother has care needs, how can those care needs best be met? You tell me. If not by myself.
Well, I don't know the circumstances of that, but usually the care planning meeting, a person's capacity will be assessed. If they can make the decision if they need care, who's going to meet those care needs. If a person doesn't have capacity, then a best interest meeting will take place to decide who's best placed to meet those care needs and things like that. So
yes,
the usual process.
And was that usual process followed previously when Talib was in your care and custody?
I wasn't involved in his care then, so I'm not completely sure of
Okay, so obviously you should have those records in front of you, but I do remember because as I explained on the 3rd of August, you, the local authority, in collaboration with your partners, the District Care Trust, came and kidnapped my brother from my home. You then attempted to remove me as nearest relative, but then obviously you couldn't understand that he was at Linfield Mount Hospital. There was a period of time that they can keep him there. They had to discharge him, so a capacity assessment was carried out, and the issue of him being housed in a care home was fully explored. So the Taliban's informed me that they attempted to put me into a care home. So you've already established that you wanted to put him into a care home and he refused. So you've attempted already to place him into a care home, and what the process that you've mentioned has already happened. And so therefore you've assessed his mental capacity regarding where he wants to reside. He's quite clearly, and you've then proceeded to show him the care home. I think it's somewhere on Otley Road or something, not Otley Road, Duckworth Lane. There's a care home, I think it's called Britannia Care Home. You've attempted to take him to the care home to my exclusion. So have your predecessors have fungi and Baljit Nota have. He's gone to the care home and he said, I don't want to live here. And so they said, look, you're ready to be discharged. Where do you want to live? And he said, look, I want to live with Shazad. And they give it, no, you can't live with Shazad. So he said, all right, well, I want to live with Adalat then. All right, because he's my brother or my sister. I want to live with family. Why should I live in a care home like this? All right, so you've then concluded that this person has mental capacity, and you've then not been able to place him in a care home. Now, subsequently, multidisciplinary meetings have taken place, and you have discharged him into my care in December 2018, January 2019, fully. So those procedures were already followed. And I made you aware that I will not be doing this for free. I'll be charging £1 million. So is it the case that there's no the reason I'm asking these questions is that what alternatives are there for Talib now? Where can he, just talking generally speaking, in his best interest, where should he live, and who should meet his care needs in my absence?
So that would be a case of meeting with Talib, perhaps getting him an advocate as well. Like you said, assessing his capacity, seeing what Talib's wishes are, where he would like to stay. If you're saying that you can no longer provide care to him, his care needs will be assessed under the Care Act, and then we'd find a provider, whether, like you say, whether that be a residential home or a place where Talib would be able to be residents to receive support and care. So that would be the usual process.
Yeah, but can you understand that would be the usual process where Talib, number one, wants to live there. What would be the usual process if you establish that he has mental capacity and he does not want to live in an institution?
So then, well, like you say, it depends whether you would be still continuing to provide care to him. If you were saying that you were no longer able to provide that care, then we'd then have to see what alternatives would be available and what would be best for Talib.
Okay, so no, but I'm just saying, under this hypothetical situation, what are Talib's options other than institutionalized care?
Well, I would have thought that we'd have to see what the situation was with regards to the housing situation, where he would be provided that care. If he find a settled place of residence, if he didn't want to go into residential care, it would be to be offered floating support up to, say, maybe 4 visits a day, to provide Talib with the support that he required.
Okay, all right. And those 4 visits a day and that accommodation, how would that be funded?
That would be funded after a Care Act assessment, which would include an indication of how much that funding would be required. And it will be required to go to a social care panel for them to agree that funding after a care provider has been identified.
Okay, all right. But who would pay for the care?
So it would probably would be the local authority, as you say. Usually a person would make a contribution, but however, as Talib has Section 117 aftercare rights, it wouldn't be required to make a contribution towards that care, I don't think.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, it would be from the social care budget.
Okay, all right. Social care budget. So all right. So effectively, and how much? What's the cap on that social care budget?
What's the what? Sorry.
What is the upper cap? What is the cap on the amount of social care budget that can be allocated to Talib?
I don't think there's a cap as such. It's usually on a care needs basis.
Okay.
So it's an individual assessment.
Okay.
Care needs.
Okay, all right. And so, in regards to my brother Talib, you're saying that you can get him four calls a day or 4 carers a day.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying generally that's usually the limit. If someone requires more than 4 visits a day, that's when residential care is then considered if it's required.
Okay.
That's not always the case. It's possible for people to get more support hours, but just as that's kind of can be an indication of whether if a person can't cope at home with 4 visits a day, then it's kind of considered as whether it is best for that person and economically wise as well, economically viable, whether the person would need to be in residential care or can still live in their own home.
Okay, but so can you just tell me what happens when the person requires, 24-hour care, but they're refusing to go to a care home?
So then the capacity would need to be assessed.
Okay. And so if the capacity is determined that the person has mental capacity, what do you do then?
I think that would be quite difficult then. I'm not 100% sure what would happen in that case. I think they would generally, they'd try to provide that care in the person's own home, but if it was significantly less economic, then it might be difficult to get that funding agreed. But
Okay.
but it's not necessarily the case that person wouldn't be able to get that care provided at home.
Okay, all right. But you are fully aware that in my mother's case, the local authority, pursued those avenues. The local authority had, determined that my mother lacked mental capacity and therefore removed me from the house and then proceeded to provide her with 2 carers a day on a 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Okay, I'm not completely aware that was the situation, but yeah, obviously I wasn't involved in Talib's care or yours and Talib's mum's care, but
Okay.
I think I have some knowledge of that was the situation, I think.
Yes,
right?
so obviously there are circumstances where 24-hour care is provided to somebody in their own home, but under these circumstances, you had established that my mother even lacks mental capacity to make the decision of where she needs to reside, and you had made the best interest decision to provide her, removed me and my brother Talib from our home, and proceeded to provide 24-hour care 7 days a week. How was that being funded? All right, and that was obviously being funded by the money that you are taken off me to give to my mother. These are the concerns I have, Mr. Browell. Is this that right now, economically speaking, you need my brother Talib to lack mental capacity so you can put him into residential care and then use the hundreds of thousands of pounds that you've taken off me or accumulated to pay one of your care providers. But ultimately it comes down to the fact that that's not what Talib wants, and that's what Talib agrees to. So what alternatives are there?
Well, it's very difficult. Everything's hypothetical because nobody's able to see Talib and speak to him and see what his wishes are and assess his capacity. capacity with regards to that.
But that's not correct, Mr. Browell, and you're being intellectually dishonest now, because you have had him in your care and custody from the 3rd of August 2018 until the 14th of December 2018. He was in Linfield Hospital. You had ample opportunity to assess his mental capacity. You had ample opportunity to carry out all your needs assessment or anything. He was in your care and custody, and at that stage you had not chosen to pursue court protection proceedings in 2018. All right, because you've decided that the person has capacity and we can't put him into a care home. So you've had.
I mean,
So
I think we talk. I don't know about them, but we're talking about if that was the case now. That's the process that will be required to change matters. If you're saying that you're unable to continue with care for Talib, then those are the processes that would work out where that support would come from.
Oh, okay.
I'm not really commenting on something, a decision from 2018.
Okay, that's fair enough, but we're talking obviously, like you said, but what I'm talking about, if I don't provide him with care, like I'm saying, if I stop providing him with care, his only option is to go into institutionalized care, isn't there?
I wouldn't say that was his only option, but that will be one of the options.
What is his alternative options?
It would be to reside somewhere and to be provided care in the home.
Yes, but that's still care being provided to him by the institutions, isn't it?
By a care provider, yes.
Yes, a care provider. So strangers, all right. But what happens if he says, I don't want strangers or people I don't know to give me personal care?
Well, that would be to depend. I mean, obviously, that's the situation that's happening now, is that you are his main carer. If he was saying that he wanted his family to provide care for him, but his family were saying that they were not able to provide that care, then an alternative arrangement would have to be kind of sourced. So in some circumstances, if a person doesn't have any family, or the family are not able to provide that care, then it's a question of, well, in some circumstances, that care will have to be provided by an external agency.
And if it has to be provided by an external agency against the person's wishes, is that not a deprivation of liberty?
It would be completely dependent on assessing the person's capacity and whether
Yes.
that person lacks capacity.
But can you not understand that that this system seems to be geared in order to, have a situation where if the person does not consent, all right, that you can override him by saying, we can then railroad through the fact that he lacks capacity. But what happens if he does not lack capacity and he does not consent?
So then, well, in that situation, then if he doesn't lack capacity, then that person has that right to choose to not accept that care.
Yes.
But then there might then be concerns about self-neglect, and then that might become a safeguarding.
Yes. Oh, okay.
If the person cannot meet their own care needs, and they choose not to accept care, then that's their choice. But then there will be maybe concerns about them self-neglecting, and that might become a safeguarding matter.
Yeah. So that's fair enough. So thank you for that explanation. But can you understand that none of these options are, you say we're speaking hypothetically, but none of these options are in Talib's best interest. The present status is one where obviously Talib is not being neglected. Talib's needs are being met. Talib's care needs, for your reference, are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Somebody needs to provide him with that support. I'm providing him with that support, but I'm not doing it for free, because why should I do it for free effectively to save you, the council, money? Can you just understand my logic that effectively, because none of these avenues that you're doing, you're effectively saving money and at my cost? Why should I be placed into a situation where I am economically made inactive and therefore help you save money?
That's your decision. Like I said, you don't have to provide that care. I understand why you have provided that care, because you're caring for your family. But
No, that's not correct, sir. I'm not providing the care because he's my family member. I'm providing the care because I'm charging you, the local authority. But we're putting that to one side. We're putting that to one side. I'm just trying to establish that in the absence of me charging you money, why would I put myself into this situation, especially when you, the local authority, have persecuted me and victimized me and sent me to falsely into prison? Why should I help you save? Why should I do something to help you save money?
You don't, but just because of that doesn't mean, in my own personal view, you might have a different view, but like I said, it's usually a formal agreement, and it takes a process where agreements are made, where there's a contract in place, where someone gets paid to provide care.
Yes.
So that's
okay.
what happens.
Okay, but the reason that you don't, I've already told you my remuneration policy. The reason that you don't want to have that agreement is because you're not willing to pay the money. So it's like right now, if we were to come to an agreement, I would say I want £1 million and you would say no, and therefore you don't want a formal agreement. So you're effectively, by saying no. So all right, I'll say, all right, look, let me just put it this way. If I say to you, all right, I want £1 million a week for providing the care, you said no, we're not going to pay that. So I said, all right, how about £500,000 a week? You said no. I said, all right, how about £100,000 a week? You said no. I said, all right, well, how about £10,000 a week? And you said no. And I said, all right, well, how about £1,000 a week? And you said no. And I said, how about £410.70 what you paying me previously? You can say no. Okay, I say, okay, how about you pay me £10 a week? All right. You could effectively still say no, because why should we pay you £10 when we don't have to pay you and we can get you to work for free? My question is that why should you agree to pay me anything?
I mean, as far as I'm aware, I don't know, but as far as I'm aware, I don't think that family members in general are paid a certain amount as if they were carers. If they weren't family members, I might be wrong, but I think generally that isn't the case. Or if there is that kind of arrangement in place, that needs to be formally agreed, and there needs to be contracts and assessments and things like that.
Okay, I understand this, but you understand that effectively, it is a reality that effectively you're exploiting family members' love, care, and relationships for your economic benefit. Would that not be a fair statement? Let's just say, for argument's sake, I love my mother or I love my brother, and I don't want to endanger their life, so I'm providing them with care. If I'm doing that, is it not the case that you, the local authority, are economically being advantaged by my close relationship with my brother?
I don't think that's the way that kind of social care works. I think you can argue with the ethics of that and things like that, but I think that's kind of the same for every local authority, and it's kind of that's the way that local governments and local authorities and social care works, really.
No, but
you can argue a case of whether there is a kind of you can argue the cases for what you say, but I don't think it's unusual to Bradford at all. That's just
okay, Mr. Browell. The word that you're sidestepping is the word exploitation. All right, which the word that you're cleverly sidestepping in your retort is the word exploitation. Is it not factually accurate for me to state that I am being exploited?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Is it not the case that my labor is being exploited out of me?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Okay, and why?
There's a process, as I said. There needs to be a process for everything, and that would include seeing Talib, getting his opinion, assessing his capacity, assessing his care and support needs. You can't just say, well, this person has decided that I'm the only person that can care for them. I
didn't decide that. I'm sorry.
It doesn't really work like that.
Mr. Browell, Mr. Browell, I didn't automatically decide that, did I? You play. As you may have, as I may have previously told you, I have a software engineering background. All right, I could have a career. All right, but having that, basically you placed me into a situation where having a university education, having starting my career as a software engineer, where I see my friends and colleagues making in excess of £100,000, which is not even out of tune now. You can Google the term. How much does a data engineer or a software engineer make? Would you accept the fact that they can easily make nearly £100,000 as a software engineer?
I'm sure they can, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you have placed me in a situation where I'm giving up my career, where I could potentially earn £100,000 as a software engineer, and you've placed me into this situation where I'm effectively, I have a choice of either caring for my brother, ensuring that his needs and rights are properly met, or alternatively handing him over to you, the state, so you can abuse him and exploit him and do as you please to make financial benefit out of him. So can you understand the tricky situation that you've placed me into? You have coerced me into a situation or a circumstance where you're effectively exploiting my labor, and all I'm saying is what everybody else is saying yesterday in the strikes is that we want to get appropriately paid for the work that we do. Those are all the people up and down the country in the public sector. I'm not getting paid anything. All right? And not only am I not getting paid anything, you're removing all kind of revenue streams to me. All right? And then you're saying there's a process to follow. Which process do you want me to follow? If it's not labor exploitation, you've made me economically inactive because of this caring responsibility that I am effectively forced to take up because there's no alternatives in place. All right? And so if there's no alternatives in place, there is a process. Of course there's a process. I've made you aware of my remuneration charges. At this stage, you've not come to the negotiating table and said, Mr. Hussain, we accept your rights, all right, of labour, because we have a legal duty of care to Talib, all right, your brother. We have a legal duty of care because that legal duty of care comes into place under the Mental Health Act 1983. It's called Section 117 Aftercare. There's a legal duty of care. Those needs need to be met. Otherwise, we're effectively placing the person's life in danger. We are getting money from central government. There is no effective cap on how much money that's there to meet the person's needs. All right, we obviously need to take our own resources into consideration. But effectively, I've made the offer. I've said £1 million a week. You've not made a counter offer. You've just made the fact that we're not going to.
It isn't a case of counter offers. That's why I'm talking about the process. So even if that won't be possible, I would need to assess Talib's care needs. I would need to see him, assess what those care needs are. That would indicate a kind of what the funding would be. Then even if it were possible, once that had taken place, I would then need to go to a social care panel, and I would then need to say that Talib's brother Shazad had said that he could meet these care needs, and this is what the cost would be. Then it would be up to social care panel whether they would agree to that or not. And like I said, because you are Talib's brother, I'm not sure whether that would be agreed, but the process in theory would be to go to panel with that, but I'd need to assess Talib.
Yes, but we're now at a situation where we've already gone to the panel. Remember, Mark Truin was on the panel, social care panel, and these arguments, we've already gone down this road in 2012. So in 2012, you were providing Talib with direct payments to the cost of £410.70 a week. So that's how your legal duty was being extinguished. Then you decided that no, we don't want to give that money because I'm refusing to engage with you in the audit process, all right? Because I would not give you bank statements, and the reason I would not do that is because you had failed to put in a contract with me directly. You had made a contract with Talib which was out of date and which was not renewed renewed for 5 years. So there was no valid contract in place. So under those circumstances, I was not under legally obliged to provide you with any bank statements. So the local authority then proceeded to instigate criminal proceedings against me because I would not provide bank statements. The very same situation that now you're finding now with the Dalit. So that's what happened. And then the matter went to the panel, and I said, look, if you're not going to give us me the money or Talib the money, then you need to provide agency workers. So then the agency workers came involved. All right, you, the local authority, were effectively saving money. You were paying the agency workers less than £410.70 a week. When the agency workers became involved, they put my brother in a car accident, and then subsequently, since 2013, I've been providing him with my care, because ultimately the agency workers or the institutionalized cares, when they fail and place my brother's life in danger, you do nothing about it. All right, so the systemic failures, like for example today, if there's a care worker strike, the person still needs the care. So, the solutions that you have in place, like going to the panel will obviously look to a solution that's in their own economic interest. So, and you've said to me that you don't have a duty of care to me, do you? You have a duty of care to Talib. All right. So, what is stopping you not exploiting my labor or exploiting me?
Your choice is the matter.
But I don't have a choice in the matter, do I? Because if I don't provide him with care, is effectively you're placing me in a situation where effectively I don't provide him with care. I have to, as an intelligent person, come to the conclusion that his life is gonna end. Because that's exactly what happened to my brother Nazim. In my case of my brother Nazim, in 2000 and in the year 2000, you, the local authority, forced us, and with threats of taking out guardianship proceedings against me and my mother if we don't hand over our brother to the care provider. So my brother Nazim was in a residential care. So we handed him over to you, the state, in 2000. By September 2003, all right, through your negligence and the care home's negligence, he's fallen from a 3-story building, ended up paralyzed from the neck down. So it's not the case that you're telling me that, oh look, either you provide him with care, and should you feel that you can no longer provide him with care, hand him over to us and we will provide him with good quality care. You can't do, you the local authority, through your institutions, are not best positioned to provide the person with care. That has been played out in my life by my brother Nazim Hussain, whom you effectively endangered his life through the care that he was receiving care in a residential care, ended up being paralyzed, quadriplegic for the next 10 years. So that's the option that you're effectively asking me to put my brother Talib into. In addition to that, you've the local authority have then decided to say, no, we don't want you to provide care for your own mother in our own home because you're charging too much, £1 million a week, we can't afford it. So what we're going to do is we're going to buy off the High Court judges to have you kicked out and made homeless so we can provide your mother with 24-hour care, 7 days a week of care in her own home. You've done that, and you've not even managed to do that for 1 year. Within 333 days, you've not let us see our own mother. You violated her liberty, her rights, her freedoms, her human rights and everything, and then eventually killed her off. So you've not even, and then financially plundered from her. So effectively, you're asking me to knowingly put my brother's life in danger by handing him to you, or alternatively forcing me to care for my brother. So it's not the case that I have a choice. If I had a choice, I would choose to go back into the labour market, become economically active and earn money, pay my taxes and be a contributing member to society. Because I'm already qualified to do so. As a software engineer, my degree in software engineering is more relevant now, 20 years later, than it was when I got it. And you're preventing me from doing that. So ultimately, you're placing me into a situation where you are effectively exploiting my labor whilst saving costs. You do accept, Mr. Browell, that every week that goes by, you are effectively saving money, aren't you?
I don't know how that could be quantified without assessing Talib's case.
Okay, would it be fair to say that you're saving more than £1 in a week's care cost?
What do you mean by saving care costs? So a person would need to be assessed.
Okay, Mr. Browell, you've accepted earlier on. Sorry, Mr. Browell, you've accepted earlier on that my brother requires 24 hours a day, 24 hours of care, 7 days a week. All right, he's doubly incontinent, has mobility issues.
No, I didn't accept that.
Okay, well, that was the situation that he was assessed at when he was last in your care and custody in December 2018. He requires 24-hour care, 7 days a week. All right, you've not assessed him, but the ultimate outcome of that assessment would be 24-hour care, 7 days a week. All right. And so, assuming that that is the case, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you said that you don't know how to quantify it. In order to answer that question, can I just say that if you have a legal duty of care to provide the costs of that care per week, would that cost of providing you with care be in excess of £1 a week?
If Talib was in residential care and assessed to require residential care, it would cost more than £1 a week.
Okay, all right. So effectively, you're saving £1 more than £1 a week by me providing that support, aren't you?
It isn't costing. If somebody else is providing that care, then the local authority. Again, we get back to the same problem or the same issue of families providing care and whether they should be remunerated for that.
Okay, all right.
And that's not an issue that's isolated to Bradford Council.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. But irrespective, the reality is that if loved ones do provide the care, you, the local authority, it's in your economic interest, or you financially benefit where family members provide the care. So they provide the care for free.
I think that's part of all this talk of things like the big society and the social care initiative. That's generally what trying to get support from the voluntary sector, from family support networks and things like that.
Okay.
That's generally initiative of the government to try and meet care needs if possible without requiring government funding.
Yes,
that's a national initiative.
Okay, but Mr. Brown, effectively, you are looking to provide care. Basically, you're looking to leverage families or loved ones to provide care, meet those care needs. But as a result, you're saving money, aren't you?
To end the conversation, because this issue isn't to do with me or really Bradford Council. It's the ethos of social care. So I think you need to maybe speak to the government advisor or something like that. I don't know.
No. Okay, but
I'm not a spokesperson for Bradford Council.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
I'm not a spokesperson for the government.
Okay.
Care in the UK.
But Mr. Browell, in my particular circumstances, I was providing the care. If I'm providing the care for Talib, why would Talib not give me his money? All right. So can you understand? You're effectively you've created a circumstance or a situation where you're effectively, not getting out of the cost of paying care. Because you're saying, because if Talib, I had this arrangement in place, fundamentally, why should it would be irresponsible of me to put myself in economic danger in order to provide care for somebody, because you can understand that for example, if the people that I provide care for kept all their money, I did not get any money from them or the government, all right? And I did that. I cannot sustain that forever, can I? I'm eventually going to burn out, or I don't have any money to feed myself. So obviously the solution that I had come up with is that all my vulnerable family members, there's not one of them, there's 5 of them, they all give me their benefit money. We put that into a pot. All right, and we call that family a pot, our trust fund. So I automatically provided a solution to this very problem because it affected me, and that was through the consent of everybody. Now, my mother, my father, my two disabled brothers, my sister in Oldham, they all gave me the money. I put that into a pot. all right, and that was what I was utilizing in order to meet the care needs and meet my own financial needs. Never mind about any other council up and down the country or the government. You, Bradford Council, said that that is wrong. That is financial abuse. And so what we're going to do is we're going to criminally convict you, and we're going to take all this money. So we're not even talking about ongoing care costs. You've taken over £500,000 of my trust fund money, all right? Said that's all criminal, that's all wrong. And now we're placed into this situation where you are now, saying that we don't know what to do and we're going to exploit your labor. All right. So I'm sorry, Mr. Browell, that it doesn't matter about any other council up and down the country, and maybe that is a national problem or something else. In my particular circumstances, I have been placed into this situation for the last 20 years. It's in my interest to go and try to find a resolution to this. Now, with regards to your suggestion that I go and speak to government, I have attempted to do so. I know me and my brother went to the shadow chancellor at the time, which was I can't remember his name now, from Wakefield. All right, he was on the Strictly Come Dancing. I can't remember his name, the minister. I went to see him and I told him, so the government are aware of this, but the government don't want to pay the cost of social care. And you know this. They're not even willing to pay the nurses and the teachers who do go in and quantify their jobs. Never mind the 10 million army of carers like me that are being exploited. All I'm trying to say is that on the one hand, you're financially exploiting me, and then on the other hand, you're not accepting that. Why are you not accepting the Mr. Browell? You can understand that. How is this not financial exploit? How am I not being financially exploited?
Shazad, as with anything, it requires you to kind of meet with ourselves, for Talib to be there, for advocacy to be there if required, to work out what is best for individuals. It's very difficult for you to say that you're being exploited when we can't speak to Talib. We're unable to see what his opinions are and be able to kind of decide on the best course of action. And that's why what I have difficulty with, because you're not really allowing for any other option.
No, Mr. Brown,
You're saying that it wouldn't be safe for him to be in residential care, so you're going to continue with his carer, and you want remuneration for that. But unfortunately, that might be the case. But it would need meetings. It would need a process.
Okay, Mr.
You can't just make that decision and say then, and for that reason you should be paid.
Okay.
It doesn't work like that.
Okay, but with respect, Mr. Browell, I'm not saying I'm being exploited today. I'm not saying I've been exploited in the last week. I'm not saying I've been financially exploited since you've come on board this case since October 2021. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I've been abused since 2012, over 10 years ago. I'm saying that this issue of abuse has been happening now for 23 years. And so with regards to what you're saying about meetings, this is simply not true. I have attended meetings, numerous meetings. So let me give you an example with regards to what you're saying. My brother got sectioned under the Mental Health Act in 2004-2005. That is as a result of my failure to provide my brother Talib with appropriate care, because I was distracted dealing with my brother Nazim nearly dying in September 2003. So because my limited resources and attention was taken off the care of my brother Talib, I had to go and concentrate on my brother Nazim because he nearly died. All right. As a result of that, my brother Talib's situation deteriorated. He ended up being sectioned under the Mental Health Act in 2004. So he was then being discharged because he was there for over a year. So you, the local authority and the care trust, had my brother under Section 3 of the Mental Health Act for over a year, but it was costing you a lot of money. And so in a discharge meeting, when my brother was initially discharged to me in 2005, I obviously made the argument then that no, I'm not going to be taking my brother on unless you pay my remuneration costs, which at the time I had highlighted was around about £22,000. So in a discharge meeting before, and I remember this specifically at Daisy Bank, all right, in BD8 across from BRI, I had a discharge meeting where my brother was being held at Duckworth Lane at Daisy Bank, and he had been at hospital for over a year. He was ready to be discharged. You were attempting to discharge him into my care, and through a person called Alison Guy. Are you familiar with somebody called Alison Guy?
No, I'm not. No.
Okay, so this is back in 2005. Alison Guy was the equivalent of Nadia Khan, all right, or she was a senior social worker, and basically I said I'm not going to care for him. All right, and you threatened me, and you said, well, we're going to discharge him today, and you can either take him or you can make him homeless. And I said, I'm not going to take him because you need to. My remuneration policy was highlighted to you in 2005, and at that time the remuneration cost policy was £22,000. Effectively, you've discharged my brother into my care in 2005 and not provided any money. 6 months later, I've told you that look, he's now in my care, he's not receiving any support. If he needs agency workers, you need to pay some money. And it's at that stage that coincidentally you had provided my brother Talib with £22,000 for us to get agency workers. So those are negotiations that I already had, and obviously nothing. You effectively blackmailed me into providing my brother with care since 2005. Subsequently, I was involved in organising agency workers. Everybody else took a back seat while they were exploiting my labour and getting me to get agency workers. Those agency workers were doing an ineffective job because the domiciliary care sector back in 2005 was not developed enough. There were not that many agencies, that many care staff, and eventually you used my labour, or I exploited my labour, and you said I'm doing such a good job by giving direct payments to Talib. But then you were not auditing the records, and you left me in a situation where I had to effectively do the work, and that direct payment money of £410 kept on accumulating. Then subsequently, when I was going to whistleblow and say the fact that you failed in your jobs and duty of care because you allowed all this money to accumulate without regularly auditing it, and I could not spend the money because the domiciliary care sector was not mature enough or was not capable enough to provide my brother's care needs. So subsequently, you were aware of my remuneration policies, that I'm not going to do this for free since 2005, but you chose the easier option to exploit my labour, and then obviously that all messed up, and then you said that, because I've not been spending the money and it's been accumulating, that's a criminal act, and so therefore you criminally convicted me. So that was back then in 2005 and then 2016, but quite recently, when you taken my brother in 2018, all right, and he's been discharged into my care, I did not kidnap him. There were multidisciplinary meetings. I asked Reshmi Dixon and Fungai Machichiteri, who was there. I asked, Baljit Nota to be down at those multidisciplinary meetings. I asked Vicina Brown to come down to those multidisciplinary meetings. I asked Nadia Khan to come down to those multidisciplinary meetings. The council refused to come down to those multidisciplinary meetings, and the hospital staff at Bradford District Care Trust had my brother since the 3rd of August. They wanted to discharge him because it was costing them too much money. So in order to save costs, you've just discharged him into my care. So I have fully cooperated with you because, Mr. Browell, it would not be in my interest not to cooperate with you, because ultimately I know what's going to happen. Ultimately, you want to meet my brother, we'll go down this avenue, but this question still remains. The best option for my brother to meet his needs is not just me. I'm not just saying that is a fact. That's what Talib wants. Those are how his needs are going to be met. That is the least restrictive on the state. But ultimately, that option is being circumvented or not being explored because my costs. It was £22,000 in 2005. That weekly cost now is £1 million a week. So it was £22,000 a year that I was charging you, all right, for the costs. Because all those avenues have been exhausted, now I'm charging you £52 million a year rather than £22,000 a year. So when you say to me that I've not been engaging with you, with due respect, I think that is that is false. because it's in my interest to engage with you. Look, I'm the one that's ringing you up now. I'm the one that's engaging with you because you've got a problem. All right, and that problem is the fact that, okay, maybe it's a government issue, but the government has paid you the local authority money. You've not capped that money. You've not ring fenced that money to give to disabled people. You've just basically used that money as you've seen willy nilly. Now I'm charging you money, and you're saying the fact that we need to go through a process. I'm taking up my time and resources in order to resolve a problem that I know that you're not going to be in a position to resolve, because ultimately you're trying to save money. But it comes down to this very fact, Mr. Browell. I know I myself and many other people are having their labor exploited. This is an exploitation of labor. But why don't you accept that this is a fact, that I'm saving you money? You're coercing me into a situation where you're effectively, I don't want to put my brother's life in danger, so I'm providing with a care, and at the same time you're taking money away from me and taking all the resources away from me. So why can't you as a reasonable person see the fact that this is exploitation? This is exploitation. How else do you want me to frame it?
Yeah, I need to get off the phone. We've been on nearly an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay, Mr. Browell, but what resolution have we got? I've just given up another 1 hour and 20 minutes of my life. You know, this 1 hour and 20 minutes of my life, are you going to be remunerated for it?
I'll get paid. Yeah.
Yes. Am I going to get remunerated for it?
I don't think so.
No. So you basically I've volunteered my time in order to bring about a resolution. What resolution has been brought?
Really, you asked me to call you, Shazad. I haven't asked to call you. I'm quite happy if we don't speak as often.
I know. So there you go. You're quite happy for this situation where my labor is being exploited. I'm the one that's having my labor exploited. That's why I'm engaging you. You're quite happy with the situation. You, the council, are quite happy with the situation, because every day that goes by, every hour that goes by, you're saving money. So I understand that you're happy. I'm not happy. That's why I'm engaging with you, saying resolve the situation. You've taken all the money. But you've now taken all the money. But you still have a legal duty of care. Now, can you understand? I fully understand why you're happy. All right, and you're then telling, but I'm not happy because you're not paying me my costs.
As I said before, it's about Talib. I mean, is Talib okay? We just spoke for an hour and 20 minutes. You haven't said how Talib's doing.
You've not asked me. I'm happy to tell you exactly how he's doing. Obviously, we're financially struggling. Talib is improving a lot more than he was last year. He's going through a bereavement process. I'm going through a bereavement process as well. Our mother's been murdered, but yes, he has bouts of where he becomes obviously very despairing and despondent. Quite recently, he has had another session where there's been a constipation and overflow. We've managed to deal with that. I'm very happy with the fact that he's eating okay and he's opening his bowels okay. All right, I'm now looking to getting him some recreational activities. We normally used to go to West Bowling swimming pool. I'm looking to introduce that back to him now, just to get him to meet his social care needs as well, to meet his recreational activities. Obviously, I'm concerned regarding his teeth decaying. All right, but there's nothing I can do about that. But so with regards to Talib and the concerns that you've asked me, I can assure you right now, Talib is getting the best support available to him with respecting his human rights and dignity. He's in his own home, or what he perceives to be his own home presently. He's with a family member, myself. He's receiving support so there's no issue with that. The only issue is my cost to provide this support to my brother or your client, who you have a legal duty of care to. I am being exploited. So in relation to, I'm glad you asked that question, because I've not told you about how Talib's doing, because you didn't ask me the question. Now that you've asked me the question, I want to give you assurances that Talib is receiving the best care and support possible, considering the constraints that you've put me under. All right, considering the fact that you, the local authority, have talked to your friends at the DWP and stopped my carers allowance since August. Only recently has that been reinstated. There's financial concerns that we have. So the issue of personal care or ongoing care. I provide, I deal with his incontinence issue, which is a major problem for me, because obviously he becomes overflowing, and there's that aspect. All right, but with regards to himself, he's quite happy, and I can see a level of improvement in him. Obviously, we're both socially isolated, and we're socially isolated because you, the local authority, are instructing our family members to act against us. So you, the local authority, have effectively sabotaged all our personal relationships, other than our sister in Oldham. So I take him quite regularly to Oldham to see his sister, and I go to see my sister because she's a vulnerable adult herself in Oldham. Obviously, there's an issue of like ongoing issues regarding the doctors that are not being resolved. The doctors are refusing to disclose his medical records to me under direction that you, the local authority, have done. So the concerns, more than his immediate like healthcare needs, are being met, his food and dietary needs are being met, his social social activities are being met as much as I can with constraints, but the problems are, that's not the Talib's care needs right now are not the focus of concern or issue. My needs, providing the care and the cost, those are issues which you're deflecting upon. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so my brother, obviously, and I'm obviously, because you keep on raising these issues, I'm obviously looking to arrange a meeting with yourself, with Talib present. I'm just personally evaluating that process, because obviously, I think I'm obviously of the opinion, if I'm look, it's very, very unreasonable of me to, on the one hand, state that I'm providing him with care, then on the other hand state that I'm charging you, the council, £1 million, and then I'm preventing you from seeing him. I think that is, I agree with you, that would be very unreasonable. But I have to balance that with what Talib wants. And Talib becomes highly agitated and distressed meeting other people. So then I'm looking at the possibility, potentially, and I'm not agreeing to anything right now, where maybe you can meet us in a public place where you can see Talib, but we cannot tell him who you are. So I can just say, oh, this is my friend, and we can have a conversation where you could, I don't know, would you be open to that idea where we would effectively be manipulating Talib to seeing you, where he would not be aware of the fact that you're working for the council?
What would be your concerns with Talib knowing that I'm from the council?
Because I've just explained to you that he's very, very alarmed and distressed at meeting professionals. So he does not want to engage with anybody. All right, but that does not prevent you. That does not prevent me from engaging with you, or you engaging with me. And that you just want to see him, don't you? But he would have an issue with you engage, because obviously, look, you forced us through court orders to go see a professional at the Common Community Centre. Now, I asked, we were speaking about this last time. Did you chase this up?
What about me?
You asked permission if you can get in touch with Manningham Housing Association.
To be honest, I haven't spoken with Manningham Housing. I thought I might hear from them, but I haven't. No.
Okay, so obviously, with regards to him being seen by an external party, he was seen by, obviously the capacity assessor on the 12th of January. Yeah, and I had given you permission to go. Basically, look, Mr. Browell, I'm placed into a very precarious situation myself. I know the fact that Talib's not being abused. I know the fact there's no alternative, and I know the fact that it would be unreasonable of me to hide him away, because you've got the powers to come and break down the door and do all this. I just want to avoid that. But ultimately, look, I'm being open and transparent about my agenda. My agenda is the same as everybody else who was striking yesterday. Even if not more so, I need to be remunerated for my labor. I need to be appropriately remunerated for my labor. Otherwise, you are deliberately coercing me to become economically inactive, so you, the local authority, can save cost and get money out of me. Exploit my labor. I mean, can you understand? I'm actively trying to engage with you. You're quite happy to leave the situation as it is, because this hour and a half or so, you're going to get paid for it. Everybody else is getting paid. So everybody else is happy. I'm the one that's kicking off. But you know what concerns me, Mr. Browell, is this, that if I'm effectively striking or, taking actions in order to protect my labor, all right, Just like anybody else has a right to strike or, kick off that they're not getting paid properly. Nobody up and down the country who's striking yesterday is going to have their mother murdered or, be sent to prison or be, ruthlessly victimized and persecuted like I'm being selectively victimized and persecuted. If there's no contract in place, it's not because I've not wanted a contract. Mr. Browell, just to end the conversation now, let's look to wrap up. In a meeting in 2005, before your senior social worker, Alison Guy, I pleaded with you to give me a contract. They don't give me the money like this. Don't give Talib the money like this because you're leaving me in an unsecure position. So I want a contract in place because that contract then affords me some rights. So I'm not having my labor exploited. So back in 2005, I know how the law works. I know my rights, and I know the fact that there needs to be a contract in place. I don't want to be getting money like this. So you, the local authority, said no. We don't need to have a contract with you because we don't recognize our duty of care to you. We are just recognizing Talib. So if on paper we're going to give the money to Talib, so it looks like the money is going to Talib, but effectively we want you to manage it for us for free. So eventually I said, no, this is wrong. I don't want to spend this money because it places me in a very precarious situation. So hence why I didn't spend the money. But you were then supposed to audit the money and you didn't audit it for 5 years. So that is what you're covering up. So you, the local authority, are looking to cover things up and hide your own incompetencies and failures and mismanagement of public money. But then, so therefore, because of all this nefarious actions that you're taking, I am within my rights to dictate how much my weekly costs for care should be. And I've made it quite clear in court proceedings and everything else that it's a £1 million a week for each person that I'm providing care for, backdated to the year 2000. All right, that would be that in my, just as a rough calculation, is nearly £1 billion. Now, can you understand that the local authority don't have £1 billion to give me? They don't even have £1 million to give me. They're in a situation where they're not in a position to do so. But that's irrelevant to me. Me asking £1 million may be unrealistic. All right. But I don't care about realism because I care about my costs, and so I'm idealistic, saying I want £1 million. If you can't meet that, then don't do this other stuff like falsely criminally convicting me, falsely then making me homeless. Stop persecuting me. Because ultimately, if you're persecuting me and victimizing me, all you're effectively doing is substantiating my remuneration cost of £1 million a week. Because my argument is that you, not only have I told you that I'm charging £1 million a week, you have accepted it. Because you've not given me a counter offer, but then you've proceeded to victimize me. So you have accepted my costs. You just don't want to pay them because you can't afford it. So that's the situation we're in, and there's nothing that's going to be resolved. So just to wrap up the conversation now, where are we leaving things?
I don't know. I haven't got time to talk to you next week, Shazad, so we'll have to leave it at least until the week after, kids.
Okay, so we're back at your own policy of looking to engage with us every 2 weeks, and the purpose of which is effectively to find out if I'm at the stage where I'm burnt out and I no longer am willing to provide care for Talib, so you can come over and take over responsibility. That's the ultimate position we're leaving things, aren't we?
No, not at all. No, we can leave it longer than that if you want.
Yeah, obviously longer than that, but you're not bringing it. You can leave it for. You're basically waiting until thank you for confirming that. You're basically waiting until I burn out and are in a position of no longer providing care. That's correct, isn't it?
No. I can try and find out about this meeting, like you said. I'm not sure if ethically it'd be the right thing for me to not say that who I am and Talib's care coordinator. I can find out if that could be seen as reasonable. I think it'd be better if I were able to explain who I am. So I mean, it'd be great if we could arrange that at some point in the future.
Yeah, I'm open to that. But unfortunately, it will be under those circumstances where you will not be able to tell Talib who you are because it causes him distress. So I'm trying to find that middle ground, but it's a question of ethics, isn't it? We would effectively be looking to dupe Talib into meeting you.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so but more importantly, Mr. Browell, I've called you up today to find out the situation with financial abuse taking place presently by Adalat. All right, and where we are at with this, because obviously that was the purpose of the call, to get an update about, because look, you've got all the money now. You're leaving us in a very precarious situation. You're leaving me in a situation where you're exploiting my labor in order to meet your legal duty of cares. So you're quite happy for this to remain in the status quo, because every week that goes by is a week that you're saving money and financial profiteering. I want to bring a resolution to this, so we have some security, because presently we have no even security of accommodation. There's still legal proceedings going on regarding looking to evict us and make us homeless again. So nothing's being resolved.
Well, I know, but I think it says with the, I know you kind of contest the order in place, but it's my understanding the order is in place regarding the appointeeship. Talib has a significant amount of money in that appointeeship. If you were willing, you and yourself and Talib to kind of accept that appointeeship, then you could then start to access those monies. Obviously, if there's a significant amount of money, there's no reason why it has to be just £250 a week or a fortnight. It is Talib's money, and I would support his access to that money. But the difficulty is, if you're not accepting the validity of that appointeeship, that's where what makes things difficult.
No, what makes things sorry, Mr. Browell, to interject here. What makes things difficult is you're not willing to tell us how much money he's got. You're willing to be vague and abstract, like.
That's not my choice.
I know it's not your choice, Mr. Yes, but could you understand? So it's not your personal choice, but is the local authority. You're not telling us how much money there is. All right. In order for us to make a decision to take on the money, we need to understand and fully have an understanding that that's not criminal proceeds. All right, that's not criminal money. On the one hand, I'm alleging that you're doing something criminal. That's how you've ended up with the money, and then you're asking us to accept the proceeds of crime, because that's criminal money. All right, we don't think that's legitimate. But moving away from that's one of the things that's preventing us. You need to be basically. You're not being open and transparent about the money. You're just taking, here, have some money on an informal basis. You've got a substantial amount of money, but we're not going to tell you how much that money is. You come to an agreement.
If you write to the financial protection team and explain the reasons why Talib wants to know the balance, and then they will write back to you. No, Mr. Brown, I don't need to write to anybody. You came to the house in May. My brother asked you one simple question: how much money you ever got? You said, I'm going to go and find out. You found out and said, we can't tell you that information. So when Talib... I didn't find out. No, I didn't find out. I don't know the amount of money myself.
But they told you that they're not going to give us that information, innit? Talib specifically asked you how much money he had. You spoke to him directly in May. You said, I'm going to go find out and get you that information. You came back and told us you can't provide
I'll request that information.
Yeah, and the answer...
You requested that information. I was told that usually the people aren't told the amount.
Yes.
That's the course of action. If there's an exception to that, there might be a possibility. That's why you need to write to the parents.
Look, Mr. Browell, well, no, I don't. I understand the reason. You need to be, as a local authority, if you're saying it's Talib's money, you need to be open and transparent. Before we can accept the money, we need to have, first of all, we need to know how much money there is, and we need to establish how you've come to get that money. What is it, DWP money, or is it my money that Adalat's taken? These questions need to be answered, and I'm not prepared to write to anybody, but I'm happy to speak to somebody. So I can speak to the financial protection team if you ask them to give me a call, or arrange a telephone appointment, just like I'm doing with yourself. But at this moment in time, just to wrap up, Mr. Browell, is that it is evident, it is undeniably evident that every week that goes by, that my brother's not receiving his money, and therefore you have a legal duty of care to get, and you're failing in that legal duty of care, and so this is a criminal activity that you're doing. How can you justify that this is not criminal?
What's criminal, sorry?
So how can you justify what you're doing right now? Your negligence is not legally criminal. because you're placing my brother Talib in a situation where he's got no social care support, he's got no access to any money, he's effectively, his relationship through myself with his GP has been sabotaged. So how is this not, what you're doing now is not criminal? Because you're not, because remember, you, the local authority, convicted me of this very same charge, fraud by abusive position, and the details being you're not giving unfettered, I was not giving unfettered access to Talib his benefit money. So you convicted me of this very crime, not, and the words are unfettered access. Would you agree that Talib does not have unfettered access to his benefit money?
It's not something for me to agree or disagree with. It's a matter for the courts. There's
No.
the financial order in place. So it's not, although you like to say that I'm kind of a figurehead for the local authority, I've got no involvement in these decisions, and it's a matter for the courts. So it's not whether I agree with what you say or not.
Okay.
It's not really part of my responsibility.
Whose responsibility is it then?
I don't know. It's a matter for the courts.
No, it's not. It's not a matter for the courts. The courts have already made the decision. Whose decision? Who's the decision maker? If it's not you, then who is it?
I don't know. We've been nearly 2 hours now on this phone. Can we wrap things up, please?
We've not been 2 hours. We've been on 1 hour and 1.5 hours.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not been 2 hours, and yeah, we're looking to wrap things up. But what result? I've just wasted 1.5 hours of my life, through this diatribe. Nothing's resolved. All right, there's not you the local authority are not going to pursue any criminal proceedings against my brother Adala, who's financially abusing us, leaving us in this situation, considering that you had pursued criminal proceedings against me, and you have the power to do so. You've gone into my bank accounts and taken my bank statements, my personal and private bank statements, all right, when I was refusing to provide you with direct payment statements. So you have the power to do this. You're not willing to do anything along those lines. You're quite happy for the present status quo to remain until such time as a crisis happens, where at that point you will come over and take over the control of Talib. And right now you want to delay things. Nothing's being resolved. So at the same time, you're leaving us in a very precarious situation. Where there's a serious risk and to both me and my brother Talib, considering that you're in the background orchestrating events in collusion with my siblings and my relatives in order to take possession of things. So I'm just sorry, but where are we leaving things?
I don't know. I can ask about in what situation I could possibly meet with yourself and Talib. I can speak with financial protection. I can ask them, team, if I could ask if they could give you a call to provide any further information. I'll speak with Manningham Housing, as you've said. That would be a good idea. Other than that, I don't really know.
Yeah. Okay. So
without being able to see Talib, I'm at a bit of a loss. It's just our phone conversations, and you kind of asking for information that it's not always possible for me to provide. So
yeah, I understand this, but with regards to meeting Talib, you have met. Why do you keep on saying I've not seen Talib? You met him in May.
I've seen him once. No, that's fine, but he's kind of like there's not a lot that I can do without seeing Talib. If you want things to be better for Talib, then it's kind of like, well, let's try and arrange it.
Yeah. Okay.
The way that he can access his funds. I'm happy to discuss that. I'm happy to provide him alternative care or talk about his care needs being assessed, but I can't do that without seeing him.
Yeah, but you're saying in order to help Talib doesn't want your help.
Well, that's fine.
But the reason that he does not want.
How do you say that I'm failing in my duties then? Because
I'm not saying.
What do you want me to do then?
With respect, I never said you're failing in your duties as this care coordinator or as Mr. Browell. I'm saying you're failing in your duties as a local authority. So just to clarify, I'm not raising criticism as yourself. I'm sorry. Why have you? I don't understand why you've come to that conclusion. Ultimately, your hands are tied. All right. If you feel that you're failing in your duty of care, it's simply because your management are, restricting you in what you can do. The help that you're looking to provide Talib with, Talib does not either want, need, or require that help. All right, because I'm providing him with that help and support. What you, the local authority, want to do is remove me from the situation because I'm charging a lot of money. All right, And this is why we're at this impasse, because you're saying, well, as long as you're providing the care, we know that his care needs are being met, then obviously we've discharged our legal duty. And I'm saying you haven't, because you've not paid me. Previously, since 2005, you can make the argument that you've executed your legal duty of care because you were paying him in direct payments. Since 2012, since 2012, when you've not only stopped paying him direct payments, but not been providing him with social care, since the whole of 2013, you've been failing in your duty of care, because you're not providing him with support. You're relying on family members, and then you're relying on coercing Adalat to provide that support. It's all kind of messed up now, and so therefore, this situation is not going to resolve itself, and it requires. What it requires, Mr. Browell, is not your involvement. I've said this before. I need to know who the decision maker is, and for the decision maker to speak to me, because this conversation I've had with Mr. Ismail Mullah, the financial deputy or director, and he says I can't do anything. I'm just following instructions. So the conversations are repeated with Mr. Mullah is not the right person. Somebody senior I need to speak to resolve the situation, particularly regarding my mother's situation. And I've already mentioned to you that we're not poor. You've stolen, over 1,100 bitcoins from us. That's over 58 million pounds. You've stolen from us as well. There's issues regarding my mum's executing my mother's will. That's all. Nothing's being resolved. You're just leaving us in this crisis situation, waiting for something terrible to happen, which I'm trying to avoid and trying to circumvent. And then you are going to come in as the good guys, saying we're now going to do our legal duty of care. If I'm saying you're failing in your duties, it's not you, Mr. Browell. I'm saying that you, the local authority, are failing in your legal duty of care to my brother by exploiting my labour. What's wrong with that?
No, that's fine, Shazad, that's fine, but I'm just at a loss to know how I can change this situation in any way.
And the truth of the matter is, you can't. You're not in a position, you're not in a legal position or have the authority to change the situation, because your senior managers who are hiding behind the corporate veil have created this very situation, because it's in your corporate financial interest to exploit my labour. So, with respect, Mr. Browell, you and I on a personal level, we've always had a cordial relationship, haven't we? I've not tried to be disrespectful to you. I think we've established that.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, so we've always had a cordial relationship. But the problem here is that the senior managers, Vicina Brown, Nadia Khan, particularly Mr. Mark Truin, who was on the panel of financial deputy, who was on the panel to provide social care, the senior managers are really messed up here. And they're hiding behind that. So they're effectively torturing me. All right? They're effectively torturing and persecuting and victimizing me, and then fronting you so I can be rude and disrespectful to you. And I've chosen not to do that, because I know you're simply trying to do your best to do your job. But the bottom line remains is that the local authority, Bradford Council, are acting now, are failing in their legal duty of care. They're financially exploiting me and committing criminal acts against me and my brother. Now, who can I speak to resolve this? Because at the same time, you're colluding and conspiring with my family network. Adalat could assist me in caring for my brother Talib. My sister Shaida could assist me in caring for my brother Talib. My sister Khalda could assist me in caring for my brother Talib. My nieces and nephews of Wasim, Tasveer and Shagufta could assist me in caring for my brother Talib to help me. They're not doing this because they're working as your proxy agents. Those people are taking instructions from Bradford Council. They're all turning against me. And so on the one hand, you're not paying me anything. You're not giving me any avenue. I'm in a situation where I'm suffering. You're not, Mr. Browell, you're not suffering, are you?
No.
I'm suffering. And as a consequence, and I'm suffering because I'm making sure that Talib's not suffering. That's why I'm pursuing this. And your attitude says that don't call us, we'll call you. Effectively. You the council are not suffering. Look, as a result of I'm explaining to you, I'm suffering. And as a result of my suffering, you the council are financially benefiting. So how is that not exploitation?
So there's money there at Talib that he's able to access, and you're not accepting that money, and Talib isn't accepting it.
So how does that resolve me being exploited?
We're going round in circles.
No. Mr. Browell, if Talib cannot physically access the money without me, yeah? You've attempted to give him a bank card, all right, and then when he's got the bank card, I've assisted him to take the money out, and then you've attempted to lay safeguarding that I've stolen the money, all right. That's what was happening in February 2019. You know that's a safeguarding alert. So you cannot give Talib money, all right. You cannot physically give Talib money while I'm caring for him because I've financially abused him. So you tell me this: Talib agrees to this money. What's stopping me stealing the money from Talib? It's Talib's money, innit? You said it's Talib's money. Talib has rights to access that money. You come down, you give Talib the money. What's stopping me stealing the money from Talib, considering that you've convicted me of defrauding him financially in the past? So you've got a history. You've got now there's a history of me defrauding Talib money. What's stopping me from defrauding Talib money that you give him? Hello? Hello? Mr. Browell? Hello? Mr. Browell? What's happened here? Hello? So you just ended the call, have you? So you can't effectively. Let me just end this call. So Mr. Browell, you can call me back, or we can just leave it now. I don't care. All right. So what's effectively happened here is that they're saying that Talib's got access to the money. That's a serious question, isn't it? Right. What happens now when answer the question, innit? What happens now when you give Talib the money and I'm caring? Oh, hello.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think the phone cut off. We're looking to end the call now, but can you just tell me if Talib gets his money that you're saying he's got substantial amount of money? Can you just help me understand what's stopping? What provisions are you going to put in place from preventing me from stealing that money off him?
Well, do you think there needs to be a provision in place to stop you stealing that money?
Well, obviously there does be, because you've criminally convicted me of defrauding him financially. So you've got a history. You've got a criminal conviction of financial fraud.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit like a catch-22 situation. It's like there's an apprenticeship there. I certainly wouldn't, unless there was some clear indication that you were exploiting that money. You know, it's Talib's money. You're his carer, so it's between the two of you, your choice how to spend it how you will.
Yeah, but there's a criminal conviction, isn't there? That would be ordinarily the case. That was the case beforehand. My brother had given me his lasting. He's given me his lasting power of attorney. He's given me his appointee. It's up to us. Previously, in 2016, it was up to us how we spend the money. But you said no, I'm defrauding him. So the reality now, you said there's court orders in place. One of the court orders in place is one of the court issues in place. Court is my criminal conviction. So how can you justifiably give Talib money whilst leaving him exposed to financial abuse from me?
Well, the safeguard is the apprenticeship. So that is the safeguard, isn't it? So you can't be expected, under no way would I, effectively on my watch, if I didn't think that you were kind of misusing that money, would I be supporting any kind of, like, saying that you were exploiting that situation? It's Talib's money, you're his carer, so I would be supporting the access to that money. And if there's a load of money sat in an apprenticeship account, then that's effectively, that's no use to Talib whatsoever. So I would have thought that over time that access to money would increase, so that as a Talib's wishes and what he requires.
No, but you're not answering the question here. Let's just take the £250 a week that you're giving us. You come down and give Talib £250 a week. You're then leaving Talib in a situation with an individual who's been criminally convicted of financially abusing him. How is that responsible?
That's why why the appointeeship's in place. Whatever the criminal matters were before, you're his carer. Like you say, that's with the agreement and an understanding of the local authority. So you as his carer are there to support him around his finances, regardless of any kind of criminal convictions or anything.
But what you're failing to understand is that what's stopping me from financially abusing him? Again, nothing, is that? If you all right, the substantial amount of money that you're controlling, if you give him £250 a week, what's stopping me from stealing that money from him?
Well, nothing really. But
so what?
You wouldn't.
No, but you can't make the assumption I wouldn't, because you've got a criminal conviction that I have done so in the past.
So that would have to be proved. So are you saying that you would financially exploit Talib?
I'm saying, what provision that you're effectively in danger by giving money to Talib while I'm his carer, somebody you've criminally convicted. That is irresponsible on your part and obviously endangering him. You just giving him £250 is placing him in danger now.
No, I don't. That's not.
How is that not the case? You're effectively giving him £250, all right, knowing the fact that that he's living and being cared for by a person who's been criminally convicted and gone to jail for defrauding him financially. How is that responsible?
If he's in your care and he is being paid money, okay, via appointeeship, so he can survive food-wise and everything. So that's where his money going. If nobody's, as far as I'm aware, nobody's saying that he shouldn't be in your care. You're in his place as carer, and part of that is supporting him around his finances.
Okay. So, but like I said, I believe that it's a matter of objective opinion that giving somebody money whilst whilst they've been a victim of criminality, and I believe that exposes my brother Talib to legal risk, because you're giving him £250, leaving him in the care and in an environment to somebody who's been criminally convicted of defrauding him money. I think that's negligent. And
are you concerned that by accepting that money that you could maybe be accused of financially abusing Talib again? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that's exactly what's happened. This is what it has exactly happened, because what's happened is that Adalat had the money. Me and my brother Talib went to Adalat and said, give us the bank card. So he's proceeded to give the bank card to Talib. All right. I've then assisted Talib to take the money out of the bank account. All right. And then therefore in February, I think the 27th of February or 28th of February 2019, you, the local authority, have then raised a safeguarding alert stating that I've stolen the money. So Talib had not made you aware that £500 he's taken out of the bank account. Adalat raised a safeguarding alert that I've given the card to Talib. All right, Talib, with the assistance of Shazad, has now taken out the money. So that's records that you have in front of you. That's a safeguarding alert, multidisciplinary safeguarding meeting that took place on the 28th of February 2019 by Nadia Khan. So and then
And what was the outcome of that? Did they say that you had like?
No, the outcome was that in order for them to establish that I had stolen the money and Talib had not given me the money, Nadia Khan was trying to establish that my brother lacked mental capacity. So if my brother lacked mental capacity, then obviously you could pursue further actions against me that I stole the money. But that could not happen.
Before the appointeeship was in place.
This was in February 2019.
Before the appointeeship was in place. So that might have added to why the local authority wanted to go for
No. The appointeeship's got nothing to do with it. Basically, at that time, the appointeeship was not in place. Adalat had all the money, so Adalat gave Talib a bank card with the money. So you understand that this Talib's money. So we've already gone down this route where previously, in the absence of all that happened in the appointeeship is that it's been taken away from Adalat. Adalat was the appointee then. It's been taken away from Adalat and given, and you've unlawfully got appointeeship for Talib. But when Adalat in 2019 was the appointee, he had taken instructions from you, the Browell Council, to give Talib a bank card. So then Adalat proceeded to give Talib a bank card with £500 in it. I assisted Talib with his consent and permission to take that money out because he does not know how to use a bank machine. He does not even know how to use a telephone. So when I have assisted him in taking that money out, all right, there was about £500 then. And then obviously Adalat has then informed, you, the council, that this is what's happened, which has then triggered the safeguarding alert. All right, so that's what's happened.
If that's what you're concerned about, Shazad, then you could voice those concerns. I could record those concerns. I could say this is part of the reason why Shazad and Talib are wary of accepting the money from appointeeship, because Shazad feels it'll be unfairly accused of misusing Talib's money, and what safeguards can we put in place so Shazad can feel better?
So just hold on. So
accepting that money. So then everything's on the table.
No. So just hold on 1 second. So that happened in February 2019. You were not the appointee. Then subsequently, when you became involved in October 2021, didn't you? So what's happened is that in 2021, you've now become the appointee. So you've then attempted to give Talib a bank card. So then what's happened is that in October, November, when remember when you got involved, the local authority had sent bank cards to Talib in Oldham, in Talib's name. So what they wanted to do was they were trying to railroad Talib into getting the bank cards. When I got those bank cards, I instantly realized what's happened. So I took those bank cards to the Greater Manchester Police, informing them that, look, this is what they're trying to do, all right? So whilst I was in the police station, in front of the police officer, I opened the letters and I showed them the bank cards. That the council are now trying to get my brother to use the bank cards. At that stage, while the local authority understood that I was desperate for money and you had provided the bank cards, you had given me the bank cards and then subsequently reported me to the police again, stating that I was taking money out of Talib's bank cards. So the reality is that you are acting malevolently. So there's nothing about putting things in the table and being open and transparent, because you, the local authority, are acting with. That would only be where where people are acting with honor. Are not acting with malevolence. You, the local authority, have been proven time and time again to be acting with contempt and malevolence. So I don't understand. We're not in a position to practically accept money, because you know what's going to happen. Let's go back to this £250. If you give Talib £250, I'm going to say to Talib that you need to give me the money, all right, because I'm caring for you. Because that will then I'll take the £250 and subtract it from the £1 million a week. That's the cost of the care. So effectively, Talib will not get that money, because there's a care cost associated with it that Talib is receiving cost to. So and that's exactly what was happening previously. All right, my family members, my mother, my father, my brothers, my 2 disabled brothers, recognize that they don't want money. Talib, look, let me try to explain something to you. Talib does not want or need money. He needs care. He needs somebody to care for him. He does not need money to go to the shops to buy food. He needs somebody to make him food and feed him. So that's different. He does not want money. He wants care. So he's happy to pay. See, let me explain something to you. If you were to give Talib £250 a week, he would give me that care to meet his care needs. If you were to give him £1 million a week, which you're not going to do, he would still give me that money because that's the cost of his care. So what do you want him to do with the £250? Go shopping? What is he gonna spend it on? His whole care needs are being met by me. There are cost outstanding issues. So this aspect of Talib, we got Talib's money and Talib has access to rights to the money, is a stupid argument. Because you're looking to avoid the care cost.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I know. I understand, Mr.
He's got Talib's money, and Talib has a right to his money. So in a way, you can't. I know you say it's the local authority, but you're not letting him access his money as well, type of thing, because he's got money there.
So excuse me.
And it's for you to support him with spending it. So
No, but I'm sorry. Once again, Mr. Browell, I don't appreciate you saying these things that are factually inaccurate. I'm not preventing him from taking the money. He's made it quite clear. I don't want the money. When look, all right, okay. See, this is where you're wrong, and I need to correct you on this. Prior to you becoming involved in October, it's documented in his records that both Fungi Muchichitiri and Baljit Nota attended in Oldham at my sister's house unannounced. At that moment in time, I was not home. All right, I was not out. I was out. The door was opened by Talib. So Talib had an opportunity to speak to your predecessors. If you were involved, then you would have been there as well. It's in his notes. They attempted to give him money directly. So in my absence, when I'm not even there to prevent him having money, you, the local authority, and the care trust have travelled from Bradford to Oldham to hand over money to him. When you've attempted to hand over money to him, he's told you, give it to my brother Shazad. That's what he's told you, all right? And he said, I don't want the door, and told you to fuck off and slam the door. That's documented. So under those circumstances, so when you're telling me that I'm preventing, Talib does not want his money. He wants his money to be given to me so I can care for him.
Well, exactly, that's fine. So effectively, you accepting that money?
Yes. Yeah. So
what's the difference then?
No, but there's a big difference, because you are now asking me to accept money, and I'm refusing to accept money without you recognizing my remuneration costs. Because the £250 does not cover the cost of providing you with 24-hour care 7 days a week, and risking and exposing myself to this endangerment, making me economically inactive, vilifying me, and placing my life in danger.
That's not something I can help with, Shazad.
I know.
That's out of my jurisdiction. So
Okay.
That's why there's nothing at all I can do to help with that.
I know there isn't, but what the solution that you're saying, it does not work. The solution, the things that you're proposing does not work, because obviously that would be to the local authorities' interest. Right now, look, Mr. Browell, and I should wrap up the conversation. Right now, every week that goes by, there's a duty of care that you, the local authority, a legal duty of care that you, the local authority, are failing upon. Every week that goes by, because you're failing upon that legal duty of care, I'm charging £1 million a week. That £1 million a week does not disappear simply because you ignore me, or simply because you don't want to engage with me, or simply because you're waiting for something terrible to happen to us, or you're trying to poison us and murder us. That legal duty of still stands there, and I need to make you aware so you can elevate it to the decision makers that every week that goes by, you are effectively committing a criminal act. All right. So by me accepting the money, I am effectively helping you not commit a criminal act. So obviously, Mr. Browell, having conversations with you, I think, and you agree with me, is pointless. The reason we're having these conversations in January this year was because I felt threatened. A verbal threat was made to me that my brother Adalat was going to raise a false flag safeguarding alert. Just on this matter, have you received a safeguarding alert from either my brother Adalat, my siblings, or from his GP practice in Oldham?
No, that I'm aware of.
Okay, all right. So should you receive such a thing, all right, I've made it quite clear these are malevolent and malicious, all right, because I'm providing the care and support. This is a labour dispute, all right. I need to get paid for my time and efforts while I'm helping you effectively not be a criminal, commit criminality. You, the council, are effectively now committing criminality, and I know it's criminality because you, the council, have convicted me of the very same thing that you are now doing. You're not giving Talib unfettered access to his money. All right, you may have got his appointeeship to be in charge of his money, which is being contested because to date it's not been established that he lacks mental capacity, and with his mental capacity, he wants me to have all his money and have all his finances, so I'm in the best position to care for him. You, the council, are preventing that from happening. Why are you doing that? Why are you preventing from Talib expressing his wishes to be cared for by me in his own home, and for me to have control of his finances?
I don't know.
Okay, Mr. Browell. Let's look to end the call. We can speak again in a couple of weeks' time. I'll let you know because I don't see the point of these things. One of the things that you need to feed back is that I'm not gonna give up on this. All right, I'm not gonna. Has he ended it? Hello. Oh, okay. I thought it just ended then. No. Yeah. So one of the things is that I'm not. There's no risk of me getting what is it, burnout. All right. I'm gonna do the best that I can for as long as I can. All right. And so therefore, because I know every week that goes by, you, the local authority, the alleged city of culture of 2025 is committing a criminal act that's endangering both my brother's life and, more importantly, endangering my life by exploiting my labor. So I think we should just look to end it there, Mr. Browell, unless you have anything further that you want to ask.
No, that's fine. Thanks. That, yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Browell. I will let you know. I will let you know if we need to speak in a couple of weeks' time. Should the need arise, I'm not sure if it does because this is just a waste of my time speaking to somebody who does not have jurisdiction to resolve things. So we'll just leave it as open ended. I may look to contact you in a couple of weeks.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks, you guys. Cheers now.
Goodbye. So what a waste of my time. So that's literally 2 hours. 2 hours of my time wasted. I fully express what they're doing. They're basically quite happy to, let the situation ride as it is, because every week that they go by, they are at a minimum saving themselves £410 and 70, which they stopped in July 2012, over a decade ago. All that money's been accumulated and saved by them. They're saving on the benefit money, which is they're receiving from they're saving on the social care money that they would have ordinarily be paying. They're exploiting my labor. They're preventing me from doing anything, and at the same time they're just waiting for a crisis to happen so they can then vilify and persecute me further. Nothing's getting resolved. Nothing. No, there's no solution. They're now effectively threatening and forcing me to take money that I'm refusing to take because whatever peanuts that they're willing to fob me off with, I don't accept, and I'm more adamant and determined to get my cost of my remuneration policies fully substantiated by these people. That's £1 million a week, backdated for 20 years per person. Backdated to the year to July 2000 when I took on this responsibility. So that's £1 million a week for every week that the legal duty of care existed. I've been and they've been exploiting my labor. So that's per person. And I've been caring for 4 or 5 people. So that's obviously that comes to the tune of several £billion, which are not going to pay me. But irrespective, I'm not going to back down and accept they're basically twisting my hand to accept minimum, the money that they want, that they think that I should have, which is peanuts. They're basically exploiting my labor and making it, riding it down to the least amount of money so they can save costs, and I'm doing the opposite. I'm trying to make my labor worth the most I can, because obviously that's in my interest. So this debate between me and the council still continues, but every week that goes by, they criminally convicted me of not giving unfettered access to Talib his benefit money, any money, and yet that's exactly what they're doing now. They're not giving him unfettered access to his money because obviously they require my involvement, a person that they've criminally convicted. So it's just exhausting speaking to somebody who's not in a position to help, who's not in, with good intentions aside, he doesn't have the jurisdiction. They're just fobbing me off to speaking with this guy. Nothing's getting resolved. They're not in a position to resolve anything. They don't want to resolve anything because they're financially gaining. They're exposing me and my brother to risk. So why would they want to resolve things? They're just basically acting in a criminal manner. So that's quite interesting that the local authority are effectively admitted in this conversation that they are exploiting my labor and they are acting in a criminal manner, and there's nothing I can do about it because they're just fobbing me off. Go to the government, go do this. No, my brother has capacity. He's consented. He wants me to care for him. I'm providing the care. I'm charging you. I've made you aware of the cost. You don't want to pay the cost. You don't want to pay anything, and you've accepted the fact that even if why should I be in a position to even save you, the Bradford Council, £1 a week? Why should I save you £1? All right, never mind the substantial amount of money that I'm saving you in order to fulfill your legal duty of care. So it's just absolutely horrendous, the position that they've got me into. And after speaking for 2 hours, nothing's been resolved. It's just a waste of time, waste of resources. They're not willing to take criminal proceedings against my brother Dalit, who's financially abusing us or has been abusing Talib. So they're not willing to do that because that's just going to cost them. Justice to them should pay them. So they pursued me and made financial gain through the criminal proceedings against me. The police would have not made these financial gains to prosecute me. So it's a conflict of interest to prosecute somebody and then, criminally prosecute somebody and then make financial gain from that. And so that's what the local authority have done. And now they're like in a catch-22 situation where they're forcing me into this situation where there's nothing I can do about it, and they can continue to exploit my labor. And so this is horrendous. Never mind anybody else exploiting us. The state organ himself are financially exploiting us, and there's nothing I can do about it, and I'm exhausted and I'm tired. 2 hours of my life have gone wasted dealing with this person when I could have and should have been devoting this time to myself, my self-improvement, and obviously more importantly to providing care and support to my brother whilst all this is ongoing. It's just absolutely ridiculous.